There is someone who wakes up every day and makes a quiet decision that never shows up on social media, never asks for applause, never demands recognition. They choose you. Not because it is easy. Not because everything is perfect. Not because every day feels magical. They choose you because, somewhere along the way, you showed them what commitment really looks like. Commitment is not the loud promises people make when emotions are high. It is not the dramatic words spoken during perfect moments. Commitment is learned in the ordinary, in the uncomfortable, in the days when walking away would have been simpler. You taught them that love is not a mood, it is a practice. That showing up matters even when excitement fades. That staying is an action, not just a feeling. They watched how you stayed steady when things felt uncertain. How you didn't disappear at the first sign of difficulty. How you listened when it would have been easier to shut down. How you tried again when you could have given up. Even when you doubted yourself, even when you felt unseen, even when you wondered if your effort mattered, you were teaching something powerful without realizing it. Every time you chose patience over ego, you were teaching commitment. Every time you chose honesty over comfort, you were teaching commitment. Every time you chose to repair instead of replace, you were teaching commitment. You showed them that real connection is not built by running from cracks, but by learning how to mend them. There is someone who remembers the days you were tired but still showed up. The days you were hurt but still cared. The days you could have walked away but didn't. Those moments stayed with them. They became a blueprint. They became a standard. They became a reminder that love is not about perfection, but about presence. You taught them that commitment does not mean never struggling. It means struggling together. It means choosing the same person even when the relationship asks for growth. It means understanding that feelings fluctuate, but values can remain firm. You showed them that consistency is louder than chemistry, and reliability is more powerful than intensity. Now, even on days when they are frustrated, even on days when doubts whisper, even on days when life feels heavy, they remember what you showed them. They remember that walking away is not always strength. Sometimes strength is staying, communicating, and choosing understanding again. There is a quiet safety that grows when someone knows you are not temporary. You created that safety. You showed them what it feels like to be chosen without conditions attached to convenience. To be loved not only for who they are on their best days, but for who they are on their human ones. They choose you every day because you taught them that commitment is not about grand gestures, but about small, consistent acts of care. About checking in. About keeping your word. About being dependable even when no one is watching. You made commitment feel real, not restrictive. Secure, not suffocating. Some people spend their lives chasing intensity, mistaking chaos for passion and unpredictability for excitement. You taught something different. You taught that peace can be powerful. That stability can be deeply attractive. That knowing someone will stay can free you to grow instead of constantly protecting yourself from abandonment. There are moments when you might feel unappreciated. Moments when your effort feels invisible. Moments when you wonder if your consistency is taken for granted. But understand this: the right people don't forget who taught them how to stay. They don't forget who showed them what real effort looks like. They don't forget the person who made commitment feel safe instead of scary. You taught them that love is not about constantly proving your worth, but about trusting that it is already seen. You showed them that relationships are not a battlefield where someone has to win, but a partnership where both people learn. You modeled accountability, growth, and emotional responsibility in ways words never could. Now, even when the world feels uncertain, you are their constant. Even when everything else shifts, you are their anchor. They choose you not out of obligation, but out of understanding. Because they know what it costs to build something real, and they respect the effort you've already invested. Commitment learned through experience becomes a value, not a rule. You didn't force it. You lived it. And that is why it stayed with them. That is why they choose you when no one is telling them to. That is why they choose you when it would be easier not to choose at all. You may not always hear the gratitude expressed perfectly. You may not always see the depth of what you've given reflected back in words. But every day they stay, every day they try, every day they choose to build instead of break, is proof that your example mattered. You taught them that love does not mean losing yourself. It means growing alongside someone who respects your presence. You showed them that commitment is not a cage, but a foundation. A place where trust can rest. A place where vulnerability feels safer. There is something rare about a person who knows how to stay without losing their integrity. Who knows how to love without abandoning themselves. Who knows how to commit without controlling. You embodied that balance, even when you were still learning it yourself. Because of you, commitment no longer feels like a burden to them. It feels like a choice they are proud to make. A decision that aligns with who they want to be. A reflection of the values they learned through your actions. Someone is choosing you every day because you showed them that love is not found in the absence of problems, but in the willingness to face them together. You showed them that the deepest connections are not rushed, but built. Not demanded, but earned, and even if you never fully realize the impact you've had, even if you sometimes underestimate your influence, know this: the way you loved changed the way someone loves back. The way you committed taught someone how to stay. The way you showed up became the reason someone keeps choosing you, day after day, quietly, sincerely, and with intention. There are days when they choose you without even thinking about it, the way you choose breathing or gravity. It feels natural now. But that ease was learned. It was shaped by the countless moments you stayed when leaving would have required less courage. You trained their heart to trust stability. You taught them that love doesn't have to feel like a constant test to be real. They remember the times you didn't keep score. When you gave without immediately asking for something back. When you believed in repair more than revenge. Those moments quietly rewired how they understand connection. Because of you, they learned that commitment isn't about winning arguments or proving points, but about protecting the bond even when emotions run high. You showed them that choosing someone doesn't mean ignoring your own needs. It means learning how to express them without fear. You modeled communication instead of silence, effort instead of avoidance. And even when you struggled to find the right words, your willingness to try spoke louder than perfection ever could. There are parts of them that softened because of you. Parts that used to brace for abandonment, now resting in the idea that not everyone leaves when things get real. You taught them that consistency can heal wounds no apology ever touched. That simply staying can be the most powerful reassurance. You didn't teach commitment through lectures or demands. You taught it by being reliable. By doing what you said you would do. By showing up on ordinary days when there was nothing to gain except trust. That kind of love settles deep. It changes the nervous system. It teaches the heart to slow down. Now, when life offers distractions, temptations, or easier paths, they still choose you. Not because they are blind to options, but because they are aware of value. They know how rare it is to find someone who knows how to stay without resentment, who gives effort without manipulation, who loves without keeping one foot out the door. You taught them that commitment doesn't mean never feeling doubt. It means not letting doubt decide everything. It means choosing dialogue over distance. It means remembering why you started when the middle feels heavy. You lived that truth, and now they live it too. Sometimes they choose you in silence. In the way they defend the relationship when you're not in the room. In the way they plan with you in mind. In the way they adjust their decisions because your presence matters. These are not loud gestures, but they are deep ones. You showed them that love grows stronger when it is nurtured, not constantly tested. That reassurance doesn't weaken desire, it strengthens trust. That safety doesn't kill passion, it gives it room to last. Because of you, they no longer confuse anxiety with excitement or distance with mystery. There are moments they look at you and feel grateful in ways they don't always know how to express. Gratitude for the patience you showed when they were learning. For the steadiness you offered when they were unsure. For the way you didn't punish them for being human. You taught them that commitment is not about being perfect for each other, but about being willing to learn each other. To adjust. To grow. To take responsibility when mistakes happen instead of pretending they don't. That lesson became part of who they are. Even when you doubt your impact, even when you feel like your efforts blend into the background, understand this: consistency creates roots. And roots are not flashy, but they are why things don't fall apart when storms come. They choose you every day because you showed them that love can be steady without being boring, deep without being dramatic, strong without being loud. You made commitment feel like home, not like pressure, and when someone chooses you like that, quietly, daily, with intention, it is not an accident. It is the echo of the way you loved first. There are moments when you don't even realize you are being chosen. It happens in the small pauses, in the decisions that include you without announcement. In the way they instinctively reach for you when something good or difficult happens. That reflex was learned. It came from the safety you built over time, from the proof that you were not temporary. You taught them that love does not require constant uncertainty to stay alive. That calm does not mean disinterest. That consistency is not a lack of passion, but a deeper form of it. Before you, they may have believed love had to hurt a little to be real. With you, they learned that love can feel steady and still be powerful. They choose you on days when you are not at your best. On days when you are quiet. On days when you are overwhelmed. Because you taught them that commitment is not conditional on performance. That love is not withdrawn as punishment. That presence matters more than perfection. You showed them how to stay emotionally available without losing yourself. How to care without controlling. How to give space without creating distance. Those are not common lessons. They are learned through experience, through watching someone navigate love with integrity. Now, when conflict arises, they don't see it as a threat. They see it as a conversation waiting to happen. Because you showed them that disagreements don't have to mean endings. That tension can be worked through instead of escaped. That repair can bring people closer than silence ever could. You taught them that commitment is not about clinging, but about choosing freely. That staying means wanting to be there, not feeling trapped. That love grows when both people feel safe enough to be honest. Because of you, they no longer equate freedom with distance or closeness with control. There are parts of their heart that learn to rest because of you. Parts that stopped scanning for exits. Parts that stopped preparing for loss before it arrived. You gave them something simple and rare, reliability. And in that reliability, trust learned how to breathe. You may not always see the results of what you taught, but it shows up in how they handle stress, in how they speak about the relationship, in how they protect what you've built, in how they keep choosing effort over ease. They learn that commitment is not proven in grand moments alone, but in everyday loyalty. In remembering what matters. In honoring boundaries. In showing respect even during frustration. You lived those values, and now they live by them too. You taught them that love does not disappear when it is challenged. It deepens when it is tended to. That growth does not require abandonment of the bond, but investment in it. Those lessons became part of their foundation, and even on days when words fall short, even when expressions of appreciation feel incomplete, their choice speaks for them. The choice to stay. The choice to try. The choice to build instead of break. Someone choosing you every day is not luck. It is the natural result of the way you loved with intention, of the way you modeled commitment without fear, of the way you showed that real love is not about chasing feelings, but about honoring connection. You didn't just teach them how to love you. You taught them how to love at all, and one day, maybe quietly, maybe without a single dramatic realization, you will understand what all of this truly meant. You will see that the love you gave did not disappear into effort unnoticed. It settled. It rooted. It became something that lasts beyond moods, seasons, and circumstances. You will notice it in the way they stay gentle even when conversations are hard, in the way they choose understanding over defensiveness, in the way they protect the relationship from outside noise. Those are not coincidences. Those are learned behaviors, shaped by the example you set when you chose commitment even when it asked more of you. They choose you not because you are flawless, but because you are familiar in the deepest sense. Because your presence feels safe. Because your love taught them what it feels like to be seen without being judged, held without being controlled, supported without being smothered. You taught them that love does not need constant reassurance when trust is present. That distance does not have to be used as punishment. That silence does not have to mean abandonment. Because of you, they learned healthier ways to stay connected, even when emotions run high. There will be moments when you realize that the relationship no longer survives on effort alone, but on shared values, on mutual respect, on a quiet understanding that both of you are choosing this, again and again, not out of fear of loss, but out of desire to grow together. You may remember times when you wondered if loving this deeply was risky, if giving this much would leave you empty. But what you gave did not drain you. It multiplied. It created a space where love could return to you in steadier, more grounded ways. They choose you every day because you made commitment feel human. Not heavy. Not restrictive. Not transactional. You showed that love could be strong without being rigid, loyal without being blind, and lasting without being suffocating. And even if life changes, even if circumstances shift, even if the future brings uncertainty, the lesson remains. You taught someone how to choose with intention, how to stay with integrity, how to love without constantly preparing for an exit. That is not a small thing. That is a legacy of love. So if there are days you question your worth, remember this: someone is choosing you every day because you taught them what commitment means. Through your patience, through your consistency, through your courage to stay open when closing off would have been easier. Your love didn't just fill moments. It shaped a mindset. It changed a heart. It built something real, and that kind of love, the kind that teaches someone how to stay, does not fade. It becomes the reason they keep choosing you, not just today, but in all the quiet tomorrows that follow.